That staffer is doing well. I got to say, I didn't expect him to test positive. I lobbied to get him tested because I didn't want him to come back if he was positive. He didn't have significant symptoms. Thankfully, he took himself out of the circulation very early. We were trying to do as much as we can remotely, but the new normal is to go all remotely. We can get through it, but shifting a television production to your home means everyone is continually online talking to each other because it's a fast-moving operation. And I'm seeing that being done by all of our brethren in different parts of the news cycle. It is working. I think Americans feel informed, maybe too informed. There's no point getting all worked up about it because you've already been exposed. Now, if you're in the same little cubicle, you're spending a ton of time together, watch your symptoms. There's about a 5-day incubation period. Once you get past those 5 days, you can probably take a little bit of a deep breath, but there's probably someone else you ran into contact with that may have infected you, or holding the subway handle because we know the virus lives for 2 days on that. Fever is present in 90% of people. About 2/3 are going to have a feeling of fatigue or a dry cough. Those are the key symptoms to look for. And if you get those, you probably ought to get a coronavirus test if you can find one. And that's becoming easier, but still not easy. If you test positive, tell everybody, because they deserve a right to know. Your spouse probably has it. Kids likely have it. Thankfully, most children are spared, and there's been no deaths under the age of 10 around the world. But by knowing who's at risk, you will start to cordon folks off. So we're talking about, for most people, 2-week quarantine period to get through the worst of it. In addition, you want to cordon off a part of the house. So if you've got multiple rooms, your room is your room. Avoid going out. That doesn't help anybody. And definitely don't get near people who have an increased risk of having complications. Don't think this is an old person's disease. Half the ER spots in France, and probably many here in the United States, are filled by younger people. They'll survive, but they're sick. Well, testing is slowly growing. We are still a week or two from being able to get just the current demand satisfied. And that's not really addressing what I'm arguing for, which is a South Korean model. Listen, it worked there. They didn't shut the whole country down. And I think that the South Korean approach was to go after the places where they were heavily infested with infections, identify everyone at risk. They had a really good idea who was sick and who wasn't sick. And the people who weren't sick got to go out and do what needed to be done in their country. People who were sick took a couple weeks off and they could re-engage. That's the model we should be copying. The fear of the virus and what it's doing to our people is now greater than the virus risk itself. And that is a dangerous tipping point. The most important thing we have to do is get everybody tested so we know who's sick and we know who's not. And people who aren't sick can go back, engage the workforce, because we got to get our economy in the right legging. And we can't do that if everyone's quarantined, because we don't have to quarantine everybody.